Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Welcome back. As always, we're sponsored by Health West. Great organization, great people over there. Give them a Google, find where they're closest to you and your loved ones, just the people you generally care about, and take them to these people. They will take care of them, they'll treat them, and you'll be better for it. We're also sponsored by my companies, New Clean Commercial Cleaning, representing the shirt and commercial cleaning services. We service all of pretty much Southeast Idaho. Give us a call at 208-254-7070, and we will offer you something free. It's going to be unique to you and what you are currently wanting. If you say you heard about us on the Idaho Business Podcast, there you go. No strings attached. All right, guys and gals, I just got back from a week of business meetings. Consultant, and man, so I've loved going to learn. I love learning because I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room. It's so fun going to go into these higher level circles and getting these ideas and getting these a better understanding of how to run companies, how to acquire companies, how to think outside of the box that sometimes we put ourselves in, because it's just sometimes madness when we're running our companies. It's just like, okay, Monday to Friday, Saturday, whatever we operate in, let's bust it. And we kind of put our heads in the sand and just run. And this is where we have to really be thoughtful and diligent as business owners of keeping our heads out of the sand and in the sky to get that 10,000 foot view of our companies instead of in the front lines all the time. If we're always on the front lines of our company, we can't ever see, where we're going and where the company's trending to go, or what pits it could fall off of. And in these meetings, a man stood up. I'd love to get him on my podcast, but I'm gonna talk about what he talked about, because super smart guy. His name is Brandon Vaughn. He's the CEO of a company called HireBus. They put all these psychographic information together, and they'll help you find people for your business that match what you're looking for. So like, hey, you need a CEO or operations manager or whatever you're looking for, they will help you build a team and give them these assessments to help you understand, is this person a right fit for a CEO position? Is this person a right fit to run operations? Is this person a right fit to even deal with your clients? Anyways, let's go forward. He started with a story, and I thought it was an amazing story. I'm not a pilot, but I have a lot of friends who are pilots, and I love talking about and thinking about flying, even though I'm terrified and I probably will never get my pilot's license. I'm not afraid to fly, just afraid of myself flying a plane. Anyways, he said there was this guy named Michael who had his pilot's license, and he was only rated to fly with visibility. Like he could not use his instruments because he was still new. He was getting his hours down, so he had to be able to see clear vision. Like he couldn't fly into the clouds. He couldn't fly at nighttime. He had to fly in just those perfect weather conditions. You pilots out there are thinking, yeah, it's this acronym. You're right. I can't remember what he said. But yeah, he was not instrument rated. On top of that, his friends were getting married, and he offered them to fly them from getting married to their honeymoon spot. And so he was excited for that. That was kind of his gift to them. Day of the wedding comes up and the weather shifts. And the weather went from kind of being that day that he was hoping for, kind of a clear sunny day, to, oh, there's supposed to be storms rolling in the afternoon or late afternoon. But Michael was feeling the pressure because he offered his friends this amazing little gift that he would fly them from their wedding to their honeymoon. Anyways, his wife told him, "Hey, I don't think this is right. I think you should hold off. I don't think you should fly." Mike's like, "You know what? I think the weather's not going to come in. The cloud front's not going to come in until later. I think I can get up and down, fly them safely." So anyways, he takes off to go over there, to pick up his friend and his new wife. And as he's taken off, he notices the weather starts to move in a lot faster than he was expecting it to. And what he took off, being able to see everything, and then within a few minutes, he realized, oh shoot, the weather's turning, and he starts to turn around to go back. But as he turns around, the clouds come in, and you pilots will know this term. They call it flying in the soup, where literally you're flying and all you see is just white. Like if you've ever driven in thick fog, think of thick fog plus a crazy snowstorm, and that's all you can see is white. Now at this time, he is, oh shoot, he's starting to panic a little bit, and he's just turning around. He's calling this tower saying, "Hey, I need help. I can't see anything. I need your help to get in." And he's starting to see that his gauges, his instruments are showing that he is going down an elevation. But he thinks, oh, that's got to be wrong, because I've got to be straight, or I might even be going up. So my gauges must be wrong. So in this soup, that's a very common thing. As obviously I'm not a pilot, so I don't want to say I'm speaking as a pilot. And I'll have to have a pilot on here so they can understand, help us understand it even more. But people get disorganized. I mean, their senses get thrown off, so they don't realize where they're at, where's down, where's up, and then they start not trusting their gauges, their instruments, and it's how people die. Anyways, around that time, where he's not trusting his gauges, the tower signals in, radios back to him saying, "Hey, whatever his call sign is, we see you. We know where you're at. We see your elevation. Pull up." So immediately he pulls up, and they guide him safely, and we'll come back to that, I guess. But in this story, when we're as a pilot flying in the soup, he kind of compared it to business owners as we're trying to build this team that can fly without us. And he talked a lot about the kind of four different types of business owners. There's the grinder, who it's like, hey, you're first starting your company, or you buy a new company that doesn't have any leadership, and you're just in there grinding. It's just you for the most part, and you're just busting it. You're sweating, you're doing accounting, you're doing invoicing, you're doing sales, you're doing operations, you're doing everything. You are grinding it out. You're hustling it, and even there are still grinders outside of this level. They can be more successful, but they're just wanting to grind. No, I gotta work, 25 hours a day out of the 24. I gotta kill it. Okay, there's that type. Okay, there's the controller that has employees, but he or she still has to direct them. Maybe they're still the smartest person in the business, and he or she is still having to direct everything. They're still coming to that person as the owner and saying, "Hey, how do I do this? What do I do here? What do I do here?" Okay, that's the controller. Then there's the builder that's built a team around himself or herself and is making money. Okay. And the last one is the investor, the one who hires smart people to run it all and to grow it without him being there at all. So, as we go forward in our journeys in business, if you own your own business, you're thinking, okay, where am I at on this scale? Like, am I in the grinder? Am I controller? Am I the builder? Am I the investor? Wherever you're at is where you're at. It doesn't mean you can't grow from that and change where you're at, but you also have to think too, what point of life are you at? Where are you at in your journey? Are you enjoying where you're at? As I read in the book, The Psychology of Money, uh, they talk about, how investors sometimes, and I don't want to get too far off track here, sometimes these bubbles are created by long-term investors looking at short-term investors' strategies and trying to adopt them for their strategy, which and a day trader may, find a stock that's already high, way above value and still buy it, thinking that's still going to go up for the next 3 hours before he sells it again or she sells it again. And say that stock keeps climbing. What happens if a long-term investor, who's controlling a mutual fund thinks, oh man, that's good stock. I better get on that. I'm going to ride that wave. And he buys or she buys. Now, two different perspectives there, two different journeys that they're on, and two different outcomes they're trying to achieve. They don't work out. And this is how they create bubbles. So this is how we have to view our own lives is, am I enjoying where I'm at? If I'm the controller type in my own business, do I enjoy this? Do I enjoy, the culture I've created, the life I've created for myself and my family? If you are enjoying it and you're living the life of your dreams, good. I'm not here to tell you to change anything. I'm not here to tell anyone to change anything at any of my podcasts by any means. This is up to you. I'm just giving you people ideas. But if you are that person that's a controller or a grinder and you're like, holy smokes, I need to do something different here. I need to get to that builder spot, where I'm building a better team around me, some smarter people around me. And I'm making better money because of it. And I'm more hands off. Or maybe you get to the point where you're like, you know what, my company's big enough. I want to spend more time with my loved ones. I'm gonna step back to be the investor, and I'm gonna hire an executive to run my company. Now I know you're probably thinking at this point, like, holy smokes, Spence, like you're crazy talk here. In Idaho, we have, we're very blue collar state, and we have a lot of great white collar stuff going on here too. But I think sometimes we think, when we start a company or we buy a company, it's got to be on us. It's got to be on us to run it. It's got to be us to drive it forward and to grow it. And that's false. And this is what Brandon talked a lot about is there are so many better qualified people out there willing and ready to build and to grow your company. But first, your visions have to be in line. So if you're going to hire this person to run your company, an executive, a CEO, you have to be able to, get on the same wavelength with them. If you put the job ad out on Indeed, Brandon was saying he put a job ad out for an epoxy company he started years ago, not crazy too long ago, and I think he had what, I think it was like 100 applicants. He whittled that down to like 16, and then and then went down to 14. And then he's like, out of those 14 people were all really good. And then he had them take those assessments from the Hire Bus company he owns. And he decided, okay, this person is perfect to be my CEO by all the different metrics that the Hire Bus is measuring off of. out of so many different years, being CEOs and what they have to deal with, they've kind of made this model of what a CEO should, an ideal CEO should look like. So then he has them take that. Obviously, he's interviewing and make sure that they like each other and their visions align. Like, hey, I expect to grow this company for this many more years and to have an exit of 6, 7, 8, 9x. But this is the growth strategy I expect to have. And if your executive's like, hey, go, sweet, let's do it. Then you and everything else lines up perfect. Hire them. If your executive's like, well, I don't know if that's necessarily possible, maybe it's time to move on. Obviously, make your things realistic to your market and your industry. But on top of this, with your visions aligning, you have to compensate them in a way that most CEOs, I've learned that none of them really have ever a piece of the pie. We hear the Wall Street ones that are making millions of dollars and have these golden parachutes, all this kind of stuff, great. But the ones that are just building companies and then that are starting at at the lower, maybe several hundred thousands or it's the million mark and above, and they start growing them to several millions a year or several millions a month. Those type of CEOs don't usually have any kind of piece of the pie. So Brandon likes to put them on a vesting schedule. I think we've talked about this before, and I think it's an awesome idea once you find that right fit, right? That right executive. And again, your vision has to be aligned with theirs. Theirs has to be aligned with yours. But as they hit different markers, as they hit different revenue, gains and all that kind of stuff, their equity continues to grow within the company. And then again, it caps out around, I think, 30%, he was saying. But he's grown multiple companies out with that strategy. And there's times that the CEO starts out making more money than he does. But because he hired the right CEO and the right executive team, that company quickly grows. And he's making a lot of money as the owner. And the CEO is making a lot of money, more than that CEO has ever made, because of the vesting schedule and as his overall increase happens. So with that in mind, with the vision in mind, then you have to build a dashboard. So a dashboard, okay, if you're having someone else run your company, you got to trust but verify. We've heard a lot of different things out there, even within Southeast Idaho, a lot of different embezzling scams of different, potato warehouses to whatever it may be. People that are close to these owners will embezzle or steal or do all this kind of stuff. And they're like, wow, I thought this person was going to be an honest person or an honest man. So you trust but verify. You don't give all access, without any kind of verification. So build a dashboard and hire it out. You can literally hire this out to, you go to Fiverr or Upwork and hire someone who is smart, who can build this dashboard. But this dashboard has to be, you're going after the marketing, the admin, the production and sales that you're going to be looking at, but make sure it's automated, that you're getting live data. It's a third party. So it's not like being handled in-house that someone as an executive could manipulate, and it's locked. Now, locks are there to keep honest people honest. Bad people are going to get in. They're just going to break your door down, whatever. But locks are there to keep honest people honest. So with this dashboard, with live data coming in, you're seeing everything going on in the company. And you can have this link with your CRM, with websites, all that kind of stuff. And you can hire smart people to do this. I think he said he spent $1,000 to hire someone to build this dashboard out for him for his company. But now he gets to look as the owner on his company, a couple times a week, what frequency he wants, and sees, okay, how are things going? What's the trends? What's going on? He's seeing revenue growth, the gross margins, net profit, net cash flow, average sale, the lifetime value of the customer, closing ratios, churn rates, all that kind of stuff's in the dashboard. So again, I'm not telling you to just go, hey, you're tired of working, go hire a CEO and then just walk away. No, trust but verify. And I have yet to do this. So obviously, I'm just telling you from the experience of that I had listening to this smart man. I figured this would be helpful for anyone who's at this point. Anyways, so there's tons of people out there that know how to grow your company and how to get it to the next level, how to execute, so many, the most successful people execute at lightning fast speeds, but they do it imperfectly, but they're not afraid to mess up. Too many of us are like, oh, I don't want to move that fast because I might mess up. Who cares? We're going to make mistakes. We're going to mess up. That's the life of an entrepreneur. We start off with high confidence and we're like, oh, shoot, I realize I don't know anything. We go down and then we're like, oh, shoot, am I going to lose everything? And then we start to climb out of it and we start to get in this, this wave of like, okay, I'm starting to learn. I know this. I'm feeling more comfortable. And then you start becoming more of the master of your field and your industry. But you're taking those dips along the way, like, oh my gosh, I'm dead, I'm dying. These people have had proven track records of growing other industries that are similar to yours, or maybe the same industry as yours, to 6, 7, 8-digit industries. Some of them are 9-digit industries, companies, not just industries. Some of these CEOs have really grown these things. Richard Branson, the guy that owns Virgin Records, Virgin Airlines, he goes out and finds the number 2 in the industry that he's trying to get into. The number 2, like in one of his competitors, like, so he'll find the COO and he'll steal them and put him in charge or her in charge as the CEO of his new company, knowing that, hey, this person guaranteed has great ideas of how to grow this company within this industry the way he wants it to. So that's why Richard Branson continues to be successful. Carl Allen, one of my consultants, business investor and business buyer, he spends 80% of his time of his due diligence in finding the correct operator, because he'll admit to you that if he was running his own companies, they would fail. But he's very, very good at acquiring companies and finding talent to run these companies. So as we go back to our story, the tower's radioing Mike and saying, Mike, I got you, pull up, turn at this altitude, you're gonna do this and that, you're gonna bank this, you pilots aren't gonna understand it all. But anyways, the tower sees what the pilot does not see. And the tower was able to guide him in literally until he was about to touch down. And then he saw just a little bit of runway as he touched down and got home safely without killing himself. This is what these CEOs and these executives can do for you and your companies and my companies, hopefully, as we continue forward. I tell you what, as we are going forward, and we're growing these companies, and like I've said before, if you're a grinder, you're a controller, you're a builder, you're an investor, wherever you're at, and if you're happy and the life that you built for yourself, awesome. I'm not telling you to change it, but I will say this: keep this in mind. I'll show you this. I'm going to share this with you real quick. This is a chart that I built on ChatGPT. This is Brandon showed this something to us that's very similar. This is my oldest son. His name's Jet. He was born 12/23/2011. And this is the black dots represent all the weeks that he has lived underneath my home, underneath my roof. The white dots represent how many weeks he has left with me until he turns 18. And I'm saying, most kids, will move out around 18. They'll kind of start their adulthood. So you're thinking, as you're starting your own companies, you're growing your own companies, you're running your own companies, What's truly important to you? And as I look at this chart, I'm thinking, man, I don't have a ton of weeks left here, and I'm trying to make the best of each week, and trying to have the time with my family. So, as they leave the house and as they get to adulthood, they look back and think, okay, dad, cared about us. He loved us, and they want to come back to see me. That's important to me. So just remember, as you're growing and as you're grinding and all this kind of stuff, what truly matters to you. Yeah, money is important. Money makes things easier for sure, and you need that. But if you're a grinder and you're thinking, oh, this is how I'm going to live my life, and you have kids, maybe have ChatGPT put something like this together for yourself, and you can start to think, okay, maybe it's time to step it up to a controller or a builder, and maybe and eventually to the investor side of things. And it doesn't mean that you're lazy or whatever it is. If you step out of your business and have someone else run it, it just gives you more opportunities to do other things with the capital you're earning, to buy other companies, to leverage other things in your life, to continue to grow your wealth. So I thought this was super helpful. Hopefully you guys can learn from this. I sure did. I think Brandon Bond's a very intelligent man. I'd love to have him on the podcast one of these days. But anyways, the tower, if you didn't get the metaphor, the tower is like these CEOs and these executives. They see what we do not see. And we've been, some of us have been burning the midnight oil in our companies for years. And we're like, shoot, how do I keep growing this? Or how do I grow it? I'm just killing myself here. I tell you, someone else knows how to do it. So you might look that way. And you can check out Hire Bus, owned by Brandon, and they can help you with that as well. Again, I get no money out of this, but I just thought, this is a good dude. I figured, let's share his thoughts and share his company. Have a great week. Go out there and dominate. And as always, be happy, be grateful, and go out there and serve others. Adios.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.